How many of you have proposed to someone in your life? And of you who have proposed, have any of you ever been rejected? I think that when a proposal gets turned down, the dynamics of the relationship change massively. I had a family member who had been dating this girl forever, and eventually he proposed and she rejected him. And it was pretty much just the end of their relationship. It was just all over after that. And whenever you would talk to him about it and say, well, why didn't you two work out? It was always, well, I proposed and she turned me down. I think for a lot of people, that's kind of it. That's a huge point where you realize, like, okay, maybe they're not the one for me. Maybe this isn't the right relationship. But what would you do if you proposed, they turned you down, but then they wanted you to try again? It's not wrong of someone to have an ideal dream way of this happening. And I think a lot of us are at least humble enough to recognize, you know what, maybe I didn't do a great job. Maybe there is something that I could do better. I think a lot of us might try again. But what would you do if you did try again and she rejected you again and wanted you to try again? That is the story that we're going to look into today. Now, this was posted to Relationship Advice by an account that was once called drary17. However, this post and the entire account have now been completely deleted. On that note, let's get right into it. I, a 31-year-old male, and my girlfriend, a 29-year-old female, met and started dating while we were in college. We've now been together for 9 years, and I'm just amazed at how someone like her even exists. She's sweet, adorable, kind to a fault. However, she always puts everyone else before us and prioritizes our happiness last. Some backstory before we get to the present. During the summer of 2021, I proposed to her and was turned down, telling me it, quote unquote, wasn't good. I understand that I could have made her proposal more grandiose, but I didn't have anything planned and decided to just rely on a spontaneous moment to present itself. I thought watching sailboats at sunset after a fun date at a small amusement park setting, rope courses, kayaking, arcade, and prior to dinner was the perfect time to ask her. Mind you, we've been together for over 6 years when I decided to ask her, and she said she wasn't ready, and that she told me she wasn't ready. A year ago, she said she wasn't ready. So in a year's time when he proposes, she was like, well, what are you doing? I told you I wasn't ready. This is where, sure, I could have done better to accommodate and gotten a little bit more of a feel for where she was at prior to the spontaneous proposal. Regardless, I got rejected for her reasons, critiqued, and our relationship dynamic was slightly different from that point on. But she told me to ask her in 2 years. I told her that I'd ask her in 1. Compromise. A year goes by and I didn't ask her. Outside of me teasing her with the occasional, gosh, I can't wait to marry you someday. What are you doing tomorrow? I hear City Hall has beautiful venue. I decided to honor her request to wait 2 years. So originally he's like, how about just 1? And she's like, okay, fine, 1. But he's still clearly not feeling it because even though a year has come and gone, he's like, just gonna wait the full 2 just to be safe. The story gets a little weird as it may be hard to believe that our parents still hadn't met until 6 years into our relationship. Her mom was coming up to stay with us one weekend, and I took it upon myself to ask my family if they'd want to come up and meet her mom and if they wanted to grab dinner. My parents accepted, and it was a really nice dinner. I adore her mom and my parents, and they hit it off well. Because I invited my entire family, my sister asked me if I was planning on proposing, as it has been about 2 years since I'd asked before. Funny enough, it was 2 years to the date. I confirmed this by a photo I had from the date day on my phone, and the timestamp was exactly 2 years ago. I laughed and decided to joke with my girlfriend when we got home from dinner that night. I was helping her get her mom settled into the house before bed, and I decided to tell her how my sister made a joke about it, and showed her the uncanny timestamp. She laughed and said, haha, no. I replied, no, I'm not asking you to marry me right now. She then responded, oh, I know, but no. I was devastated. We are now over 8 years into this relationship, And I felt in this exact same place we were 2 years prior. She and I talked about this after her mom's stay, and I told her how her response absolutely gutted me. She apologized and said she didn't mean to hurt me, but she's still not ready. But she's close. I'm sorry, but I'm finding it really hard to understand what's changed. Since then, I had planned for a date over the holidays this past year, 2023, but her a-hole friends ended up killing her desire to even discuss anything engagement or wedding related. So I had to forfeit and admit defeat again when trying to plan a thoughtful proposal. My girlfriend had mentioned the year prior, 3 days before Christmas in 2022, that it would be nice to be proposed to during that time of year. So I frustratingly planned for the future, only to have her loser friend ruin the plan. 370 days worth of planning gone down the toilet. I had an emotional breakdown in front of my girlfriend over this because I was continuously getting devastated by the attempts and failures that are out of my control, and I'm losing interest in asking, which is something I don't want. I love her so much, and I know she's truly one of my soulmates. Truly one of my soulmates I'd encounter in this life. Okay, well, different beliefs for different people. But I'm struggling. We cried and found ourselves closer than ever after talking it over. We try really hard to communicate, as that's something her parents don't do well, and I can tell she's been left a little apprehensive in regards to relationships and marriage as a result of her upbringing. Now for the present problem, as if we haven't been in like a slew of problems, as if this hasn't just been like a melting pot of problems, one of those like generational soups where they always keep part of the broth and they just keep adding to it for years and years, but it's a problem of like a soup problem. The whole soup is just problems, generations of problems. We live in the area of the world that will experience a solar eclipse this year. I originally really wanted to get married on the day of the eclipse, but again, I tried and failed to meet the time frame for my girlfriend. Right person, wrong time. Okay, fine. She knows I really wanted to do a wedding during the eclipse and have a really special wedding that all of our guests would remember for years and years to come. When she told me that I should just give up on trying to get married that day to try maybe proposing on the day of the eclipse instead, sure, not as romantic and symbolic as an exchange of rings while a huge ring is looming in the sky overhead, but sure, I'll compromise. The eclipse is quickly approaching, and I've told her to clear out her schedule as I have plans for us. I had plans for us to picnic with all of our favorite foods and walk a dog from the local shelter. We do this approximately 2 times a week as we're trying to wait for the right dog and just enjoy the exercise and the puppy dog kisses. I'm noticing a pattern with things that he's just waiting for. Don't you guys? Not only the proposal, but the dog too. I'm gonna remember that dog part. I was planning on proposing again. This time she's given me the okay. But wait, now her college roommates are inviting us to a party for the eclipse. You want to go to Ginger's and Skip's eclipse party? No, not really. I asked you to clear your schedule and to plan for a fun date day. I like Ginger and Skip. I love their company. I truly value their friendship. However, I know Ginger would lose her if I told her what I was planning and try to get involved. I also know that if I asked my girlfriend in front of her friends that she'd feel trapped and uncomfortable, and I'd likely get a yes and then say that she's not happy, or I'd get publicly rejected in front of all of our friends. I don't want anything complicated and laid out my plans already. I was taking a day off from my business to prepare the food for our picnic, and here I am now getting burnt again, and I have no idea how to rectify the situation and to follow through with my date. Any advice on how to rectify the situation and not humiliate my girlfriend in front of all of her friends? So that is pretty much where we're at. Wow, this guy is going to get strung along for years. What I'm noticing with this pattern, and the dog part really gave it away for me more than anything, is she's kind of figured out, probably she had this pegged within like year 1 or 2, that if there's ever something that he has an idea for or something that he wants to do or is important to him, all she has to do is just future fake him, just breadcrumb him along and just say, oh, well, of course we can do that. Of course that's gonna happen, just not right now. I'm just not comfortable with it yet. But no, it's going to happen. Oh, absolutely, for sure. It will definitely happen eventually in the future. Oh, an exact date or even a marginal time frame? Well, you're being a bit pushy. I already told you that it's going to happen. Why can't you just trust that it's going to happen? This is like one of the most popular arrows in the quiver of the pathological narcissist or just a mental emotional manipulator in general. It seems as though it's such an she wants her cake and she wants to eat it too situation. She's enjoying the freedom that she has as a technically single person, and she's afraid of commitment, so she's only ever going to half or like a quarter commit to anything. She could be honest and forthcoming and just say, I don't know if I'm the type to ever get married. But that's not what's happening. She's stringing him along so hard and in such a cruel way. Based on the fact that he deleted it, I think that he's more embarrassed that there is a paper trail that he's feeling this way. And unfortunately, I think that this is probably one of those guys who's going to get caught in the time suck for until the point that she leaves him. You know what I mean? I think that so many people fall into this and they're like, well, I've committed so much time to it already. And like, she keeps saying that she's going to stay. So what's another 10 years? It's been 9 years. He's proposed 3 times now and has been rejected for all of them. At what point do you just stop falling for it? At what point is she justified? She's playing this guy horribly.